Another SPAC to speak about. Desktop Metals is the company. TRNE is the ticker symbol for the SPAC. What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack. I am not a financial advisor. I got the clothing line to prove that fact. And this is not my usual working space. I'm actually in a hotel at the moment. I'm with my girlfriend. She had to go and do a course for her job. So I said, you know what? I'll come for the journey. But you already know, that doesn't mean we're going to miss an upload, baby. No. We don't miss uploads around here. And this is a company I've been wanting to do some research into for a while. She's at her course. I had a bit of free time, so we got there. Very exciting looking company, I must admit. Now, it's not something I would typically speak about. We're looking at a company that's in 3D printing, which is cool. You know, I love innovation and I love technology. I think that's what makes electric vehicles appeal to me so much. And also, I just love big tech in general. So it does kind of make sense for me to want to look into these guys. And upon initial inspection, it looks very exciting. I think we could be looking at a really good opportunity here potentially. Everybody probably has a brief understanding of what 3D printing is right now, but these guys don't really cater to the individual. It's more so at large scale businesses. Things like automakers and education providers, things like that. It's not just me or you buying a 3D printer to, you know, print off a picture of a horse. But anyway, we're going to get into that. So today, obviously, we're going to speak about who the company is, what they do, their plans going forward, where they've come from. We'll speak about whether or not I believe I will buy or I won't buy into this company, and just some juicy pieces of information in general. So right before we get into it, people, can I please ask you to hit that juicy like button? I mean, I'm in a hotel and recording for you guys. I lugged all of my equipment all across the country. So that juicy like would mean an awful lot to me, people. If you're new around here, please hit that juicy red subscribe button. I think we're about 600 subs away from 40,000, which is absolutely insane. I appreciate you all so much. And please drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the video and let me know what you think of this company, especially if you are looking into them or if you've already invested. But anyway, guys, let's get straight into the juicy information. So once again, we're actually having a look at a SPAC where not really much has happened. I've spoken about these guys very briefly a couple of times on the channel so far. We initially found out about them around the 25th of August. And you can see there was an initial response, okay? We went on a nice initial run, about 20%. The highest we reached was about 23.27%. As of right now, we're only up 13.4%. You will see that yesterday we dropped over 5.5%. We're only sitting at $11.5 a share, which, as you will know if you're into the SPAC game, is very, very low. Now, I don't like to let this lack of price action, you know, worry me. I bought into CCXX last week, below $11.50 a share. In fact, it can be a very good thing and it can give you more time to be able to build a position. A lot of the time, people expect SPACs to just go 100% up in value overnight because of what we've seen with lots of EV companies. Hyliion, we've seen it with DPHC, not overnight, but very quickly. And I mean, obviously, the big one being Nikola. So a lot of people expect SPACs to just go up in value super quickly. But this is not an EV-related SPAC. It is exciting, it is innovative, and I do think a lot more people will get behind these guys very soon. But anyway, let's just have a look at the actual company. So this is them. It's Desktop Metal, okay? And the very first thing you will see on the website is this. Desktop Metal exists to make metal and carbon fiber 3D printing accessible to all engineers, designers, and manufacturers. So they don't exist to make metal and carbon fiber 3D printing accessible to the everyday person, to me or you, to the person who wants to make, you know, as I said earlier on, a silly figure of a horse or maybe a pretend pen. This is to bigger businesses, okay, who want to make functioning items or prototypes on a larger scale, essentially. So this is one of the things we can see from them. Fiber, print composite parts reinforced with industrial grade carbon fiber AFP tape. We're going to get into these more later on. Studio system, office friendly system for 3D printing metal parts and rapid prototyping. So you can see how that would be so valuable in something like automotives. Shop system, batch production of fully dense customer ready metal 3D printed parts. And this production system, a high speed metal 3D printing designed for the factory floor. So you'll see this is kind of how the solutions work. So from rapid prototyping to mass production, you see we have our prototypes, then we go into mass production, then manufacturing tooling. And thankfully they make it incredibly easy for us to understand who the target market is. So applications by industry. Our customers are among the most innovative companies in the world and are using Desktop Metal 3D printing technology to reinvent how metal parts are created across a diverse range of industries. So the main one that I initially thought of when I looked at these, and I think a lot of people will as well, automotive. So for automotive manufacturers, 3D printing opens new opportunities for rapid prototyping, creating parts with more complexity than ever before, identifying opportunities for assembly consideration, and exploring new business models. It just means that in general, it can be a lot more efficient and it can be a lot more in-depth and in detail, which could, you know, lead to some better parts being produced. Man, I find it so weird looking at myself in the corner and seeing this background. I'm like, where am I? Consumer goods. Here we see what would appear to be some sort of a golf club head maybe. So manufacturing of consumer goods can use 3D printing for rapid prototyping and testing of new designs for both functionality and market feedback. Education, okay, by investing in 3D printing, education institutions provide students the tools to bring their work to life. You can see how something like this could potentially be really important in architecture, for example. We have machine design, makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, we can go back and read the same we read about automotive. Heavy industry, firms can use metal 3D printing to create highly customized components from hard to machine materials, keep per part costs low for custom low volume parts, and enable the creation of new designs with greater geometric complexity. So you see, basically guys, they can do a whole lot, and they have a massive, and I mean very massive looking audience by the looks of things right off the bat. And of course we're going to go through the investor presentation and we'll see some more about that. And then the last one they mentioned here is manufacturing tooling. So obviously there's quite a bit of crossover. You can see that there is a lot of different avenues to go down with these guys, to say the least. And I think that a lot of people are starting to now understand that 3D printing is, for quite a long period of time at least, going to be very important in the manufacturing process for a lot of industries and a lot of companies. And again, it's innovation, and if there's one thing I love, it's innovation. So look, that's the first thing you're going to see on the website, okay? As always on this channel, I think one of the best places to start looking into a company is the investor presentation. And the very first thing I always like to see is the transaction highlights and what the transaction is actually going to look like. So we can see that TRNE, the ticker symbol TRNE, has $300 million in cash. There's a $275 million PIPE commitments before the transaction announcement. So there is a $1.8 billion enterprise value with a strong balance sheet, and that's implied 1.9 times 2025 estimated revenue of $942 million, does offer an attractive valuation, I would have to agree. So pre-transaction, this is always important, Desktop Metal is already fully funded to achieve a positive self-sustaining cash flow profile. Beautiful, beautiful. This is one of the best, transaction highlights you could see. Post-transaction, there'll be about $625 million on the balance sheet, which will enable significant optionality to enhance growth, profitability, and diversification. So I love to see something like this. The company itself, before even going public through the Spac, is in a good position. But going public via the Spac will put them in a fantastic position. And it means that they can just grow and get even more profitable quicker, take over more of the market, etc. So the ownership will go 74% to existing shareholders, 14% to Spac and founders, and 11% of PIPE investors. That's okay structure. It is nice to see a lot of it stay within the existing shareholders, the people who are already in the company. It'll probably lead to a little bit less volatility, but it also can mean that they will grow a little bit slower in general, but that's fine. So our opportunity is to build the first $10 billion plus additive 2.0 company through superior management, barriers to entry, top line growth, and inorganic upside. Barrier to entry being a massive one. I mean, it's going to be very hard to penetrate this market if you're not already a somewhat established name. Like we speak about on this channel with the first two market opportunity with a lot of these EV companies, what's so important with Lordstown Motors, what's put Tesla so far ahead. That really does go for almost every market opportunity out there, and I definitely do think that 3D printing is no different. So as of right now, they're the only pure play additive 2.0 public opportunity. So this market is estimated to grow 11 times to $146 billion this decade. And to be honest, I know I'm always a bit of an optimist. It wouldn't surprise me if it ends up being more. It's very hard to value how innovation is going to grow, and I think that usually we either lowball or highball it. And I do think that this could be a low estimate, but again, I'm no expert. These guys know a whole lot more than me. Even at 11 times, that offers immense growth for this company, who is the only pure play. So they're going to be propelled by a shift from prototyping to mass production. I remember 3D printing coming out, I don't know, maybe a few years ago when I first heard about it, and it was just a bit of a joke. It was almost like a toy. It was like a man toy, you get a 3D printer and you play with it and it was cool. But now it's actually going to be used by businesses for mass production reasons. And there's strong secular tailwinds around reshoring, manufacturing, and supply chain flexibility. That's all fair enough. World-class management team. Again, I always like to look at the management teams. I don't like to go through it in videos too much unless it's really important. But if you are considering investing, it goes through the management team in this. Read through it. Industry-leading, defensible technology platform. They have the fastest 3D printing platform, up to 100 times the speed of legacy technology. Advanced sintering and software capabilities combined with differentiated materials platform. And broad technology portfolio with over 120 patents issued or pending. That's a lot of patents, guys. They're going to be able to do things that a lot of companies will not ever be able to do. Global disruption and broad customer adoption. I think we've already kind of covered that. Compelling unit economics and attractive financial profile. So there's a high margin recurring revenue streams, including consumables and services. And I like the fact they're across a few different places because, it's diversification in a way. If one sector is hurting a little bit, the other ones could keep them up. Gross margin improvements and operating leverage drive profitability. And organic growth funded with pre-transaction balance sheet cash. And then the inorganic upside potential through consolidation. So opportunity to accelerate growth trajectory with transaction proceeds via industry consolidation. $2 billion of estimated inorganic revenue identified across 60 plus potential targets. And about $625 million on pro forma balance sheet enables optionality to enhance growth, profitability, and diversification. Beautiful start. So here's what the growth looks like over the next 11 years. We don't need to get too into it, but 25% compound annual growth rate. That is not something you see often, guys, in any industry whatsoever. I mean, very, very rarely will you see that, and these guys are at the forefront of the industry. So additive manufacturing, okay, it enables the future. It facilitates more than a new approach to industrial production. It is a key enabler of the fourth industrial revolution that underpins revolutionary technology, electric and autonomous vehicles, next generation defense capabilities, space exploration and services, all of these crazy things. I mean, we could literally be part of the next industrial revolution right now. That's pretty cool to think, and I think we are part of it. I think it is beginning. Not that a lot of technological advancements haven't already been made, but I think we're in the midst of it, which, whether you're an investor or not, is very exciting, not just in regards to this company, but just in general. Now, this is where things get real, okay? It's transformational to the manufacturing industry, and this is what I honestly think will be the biggest driver. So, product innovation in regards to geometry, okay? Machines and tooling encouraging simpler designs with reduced performance. Lack of customization, okay? Tooling prevents production, produces tailored to niche and local markets. The process innovation, okay? Time to market, volumes, okay? Inventory, cost, scrap. So if you go with an additive manufacturing aspect of things, okay, it's easier to get more complex and generative designs, okay? You're not limited by what a human can do. There's mass customization. It's very easy to customize what you want. Right, assembly consolidation, we've gone through it a good amount. Supply chain re-engineering, happy days. So I mean, our management team has industry expertise and proven success. But just look at the size of the management team. The board of directors as well. I mean, look at this, guys. So you may remember the 4 products we went through earlier. Fiber and the studio system. That's what's out there right now. Now we have the shop system, which is expected to ship in volume by the end of this year. Now, if it's scheduled to ship in volume, that means it's done. It's already done. And then the production system, the second half of 2021. So it's nice, we can see these short-term catalysts. So I mean, this is cool. The software-enabled additive manufacturing, okay? From your computer or phone, go to a cloud-enabled browser-based build prep and workflow tools. Automate the end-to-end additive manufacturing process, cohesive modern user interface, and experience across products. 4 touchscreen controls with consistent user experience. Remote, over-the-air updates delivered directly to on-device software for new features and enhancements. Love to see over-the-air updates. I mean, this is starting to become a more common thing across many industries. I think obviously we've seen it with phones for a very long time, but now Tesla's doing it. You know, I spoke about it with the CEO of Lordstown Motors. They're speaking about doing so. I think it's going to be very normal across any technology-related industry very soon. So it's good to see them already saying this. Also, it's green. It's much greener than traditional manufacturing. Near zero waste. Vast majority of metal turned into parts, and powder is highly reusable. These guys aren't. As well, one other thing that's really important to me is it enables on-demand distributed manufacturing. On-demand being very important. They have coverage across 60 countries around the world as it is. That's a lot of countries already, but a whole lot more to take over as well. And what's cool then as well is we have broad horizontal adoption across industry. So we spoke about the industries we're already kind of in. There's loads more to get into. Transportation, consumer goods and healthcare, energy, mining and heavy industry. Pretty much everything you can think of that involves any sort of technology, people. It's our market. It's our target market. Now, as I said earlier on, automotive is the first thing I spoke about, and what they say right here themselves is very important. Automotive is a key vertical for volume additive manufacturing. Ford and BMW are investors. And then if you go and have a look at some of their blue chip customer base, jeez, it is an awful lot of very big names. And now this is what's also very, very cool, okay? So, high margin product platforms with recurring revenue streams. I love seeing recurring, baby. So we're speaking about the shop system here. Now that is the one that was expected to come out in mass volumes the end of this year. So very, very shortly. So you can see here, the first year, okay, say a 290,000 upfront sale and 33,000 consumables. So that's the annual revenue, that's the annual gross profit. Then it just keeps going. They keep paying, you know what I mean? The 10-year lifetime total, $1.1 million in revenue and $600,000 in gross profit. Fantastic. I love seeing this. If you can have one customer for many, many, many years, if not decades, that's awesome. That's beautiful. There is also always going to be potential to upsell there as well. We already know that we're going to be doing over-the-air updates. They could potentially cost more money, an extra revenue stream. It looks very good to me. And then if we go ahead and have a look at the production system, which is the one expected to be in the second half of next year, so as early as, you know, 9 to 12-ish months potentially, we go from a 10-year gross profit of $600,000 up to a gross profit of $3.8 million. So massive potential here for this company in my opinion. So they're positioned for rapid growth over the next decade, they say it themselves. So we can see that 2022 is when our adjusted EBITDA is going to go positive, hopefully. We can see a compound annual growth rate of 87% from there up until 2025, and that reflects only 2% of a 48 billion plus addressable market. And from what I am seeing right here, from the patents they have, from the technology they have, from the new products they have coming out over the next year and a half absolute max, I don't see why they can't take that over, you know. In my opinion, again, it seems conservative, and I don't always just say that. Sometimes in these investor presentations I think that, you know, the estimations they make are a little bit too optimistic. I do think this one is very realistic personally. So with all of that being kept in mind, you know, it falls in line with what I'd like to see. We have massive compound annual growth rate potential. We are still trading at what I do believe to be a relatively cheap price in all honesty. And I don't think the hype has kicked in. They are an innovative company, which I think everybody knows at this stage. I love innovation. It makes a lot of sense to me. And again, they're only at $11.50. I mean, we're looking at a downside of just about 10% right now, a little bit more. Very low downside for very high opportunity. And by the way, the merger is expected to be completed in the fourth quarter of 2020, so very shortly. So I have not invested yet, I'll make that very clear. I always like to do so. They have been on my radar for a little while. I just haven't got to do enough research. I do like the look of them. Now I definitely don't know as much about this industry as I do about a few others, EV in particular. I do want to do some more research, and I want to speak to some people who know a lot more about the industry than I do, so I'm in the process of trying to get a few of those people to talk to me. What I will say is right now I am thinking of opening up a position. As of late with these Spacs that are below $12, I've just been opening a position with 100 shares to kind of, you know, see how things go, because the downside is very low, and then it gives you the option if you want to buy even at a more expensive price. Your cost base is going to be a little bit better. So I mean, with such downside, I may well buy into these guys this week. With that being said though, it's setting up to be a crazy week, so I may need to allocate my funds to other companies that I see better opportunities with. If you do want to know if I ever buy these guys, hit that first link in the description, people. Sign up to become a patron and you will get all of my buy and sell alerts, but we'll speak about that in a second. But anyway guys, there we have it, and I really do hope you enjoyed today's video. But anyway guys, there we have it. Very exciting looking company, very limited downside, and potentially a whole lot of upside if you're willing to hold these guys for a considerable period of time. I wouldn't be surprised if these guys actually do get quite a bit of hype over the next few weeks. I think there's a lot happening in the market right now, so a lot of people might not be too interested. But I think if we go through a relatively quiet period of time, a lot of people will actually realize these guys look very exciting. I mean, remember what we saw happen with Lordstown Motors? You know, not an awful lot happened for a while, and then out of nowhere, we boom, some good news started to come out. I think that we could see something similar happen to a company like this in the last quarter of this year, more than likely October, maybe towards the end of October. Again, I could be completely wrong, that's pure speculation. But if you have watched until the end of the video, you, my friend, are a true legend, and I really do appreciate you being here. I also hope that you appreciate me doing this from a hotel room. You know we don't like taking off, baby, even when we're halfway across the country. If you do appreciate that, can I please ask you to hit that like button, drop me a comment, and please, if you're new around here, subscribe. Let's get to 40,000 subs, people. And again, if you do want to know exactly when I buy this company or any other company, or for that matter when I sell any company, hit that first link in the description and sign up to become a Patreon. You will get full access to my private Discord. You will know exactly when I buy or sell any companies. You will have access to loads of private chats. You will have access to me. We speak about stocks all day long in there. We have chats specifically for Spacs like this one. I mean, look at all of these juicy companies, people. My buy and sell alerts, messages from me. You get some juicy information in there. Our premium chats, all of the specific stocks we speak about, our secondary channels. I mean, there is so much juicy, and I mean really juicy information inside of here. It's just an awesome community full of awesome investors. But anyway guys, I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. I hope the market treats you well. I will see you for the next video. Peace.